You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Here we go. It is Thursday, August 1st. I can't believe, first and foremost, it's August. My birthday is 7 days away. How are you, Rosie?
Oh, a shameless plug of your own birthday. I dig it. I can believe it's August, man. It's dead center halfway through summer, which is good, and everything's good. And it's August. It's a good day, man. Happy birthday.
There's a big number I want to throw forth your way today. Do you know what it is?
It's a what you want to throw my way?
A big number I want to throw your way today.
Yeah.
Did you know that the season opener is 69 days away today?
69. That seems like a lot. 69. I thought you were going to say like 40, but yeah. Fuck,
No.
69 days. That's a lot of days.
It is. And it's, man, I don't know about you. Like, it seemed like all the activity in the offseason happened in the first, like, 2 days of free agency, and, like, nothing has happened since. It's
Tell me
crazy.
about it.
I don't work. I know, like, we're trying to do a show, obviously, twice a week here, but it's like everything happened, and that's it. There's been nothing else, Rosie.
I've just, like, accepted the fact that nothing's going to happen. Like, this is it. Like, who's left? What's it's over, man. That's it for the offseason acquisitions. I don't know. Friggin', I guess something could happen, but I've just became accustomed to the fact that it's not going to. And 69 days left with it's painful. I don't love it. I wish there was bigger splash, more to talk about. We'll probably get to talking about the forwards a little bit here in a moment, but I don't know. Yeah, good splash on the back end. Stoley, the goalie, we had him on, and everything's good. But I wish there was more fireworks, dude.
It's funny. I was at a golf tournament yesterday, the fourth period classic, the 13th edition of the tournament. It was up in Ajax, and talking to a lot of people, like that was the big thing that came up yet again is like trade conversations. They're running it back. It was cool to see a lot of hockey people that hadn't seen him maybe a month or two. Obviously, it's been quiet in July, but it's still like a topic of conversation in this market. You know what I mean? Like people are still wondering, are they really running it back? But you're right. I think at this point, it's happening. They're going to run it back. And I'm just really, really curious to see how this team is under Craig Berube this season.
I know. I think that they're thinking and hoping that is the curveball that makes it not running it back. We're going to get a different result. Things are going to be different. It'll be a different team, different identity under Craig Berube. That's got to be what they're thinking, whether they wanted to move Mitch or not. Again, you're not moving the other guys for obvious reasons. Mitch, you kind of could, but it's very difficult. They haven't. I doubt they will. And hopefully, fingers crossed that Craig Berube can get this team's skill set to perform at a higher rate when it matters, which is the playoffs. I don't even care if they have a lackluster regular season trying to figure out how to play this system or how to become this team that they want to be, and they're struggling and they're making little baby steps forward and this and that. I don't even care. Just get to the finish line with all your ducks in a row, a la the end of the regular season, and see if you can do something different, because I don't know if many people can handle another season of the same that we've seen for years and years.
Well, the big word I want to see under Craig Berube is like consistency, which is weird to bring up because if you look at what Sheldon Keefe put forth behind the bench, every year they had 100+ points. Every year they had monster performances in the regular season. Like they were known as a regular season team under Sheldon Keefe, but yet again, like this year specifically, I don't know if you felt the same way. Every game, I had no clue which Leafs team was going to show up. I think identity is another word I would use under Craig Berube too, right?
Yeah, and I don't think it was as bad as years past. I mean, losing to the Phoenix Coyotes and getting smoked by the Ducks and the Sharks and everybody else. Like, they didn't have that total Jekyll and Hyde. So, yeah, I mean, it depends how much he's going to change and how much he's going to expect out of the team that's different. Because if they do and they ask everyone to kind of reframe their whole thinking and the way they play in a new system, then it is going to be inconsistent. You're going to have glimmers of success and putting it together, and then you're going to have, why the hell was he there? And it's not going to click because you're changing the way everyone goes about their business, and there's going to be a trying period of that overlap where it's not clicking and you're not everyone's on the same page. And again, I'm okay with that if you're trying to do something different, because I don't want to keep doing the same shit. We've already proven that this group doing the same stuff provides the same result. So I'm okay with a little bit of inconsistency this year. But just not, as long as it's leading towards a goal of being a better hockey team and eventually getting that consistency. And that comes with buy-in and chemistry and leadership and all those things. So we'll see if they get there and how much. It's kind of what I'm excited about, is how much is Craig going to try and change what this team has been doing.
No, it's fair. And apologies for putting you on the spot. You played for Craig Berube. Are there a couple players that, we're going to talk about Calle Jarnkrok in a bit, and obviously he was one of Sheldon Keefe's favorites. Is there a couple players on the roster that you look at and say, wow, like they might do really, really well under Craig Berube? They might be sort of a big factor for him. Like Chris Tanev comes to mind. Are there guys that come to mind for you who are like, well, that's a good mix, that's a good fit?
First guy comes to mind is maybe Max Domi.
Yeah.
He could really be chomping at the bits, being that, like, he's kind of like that bulldog looking at Craig going, like, I'll do what you want. I'll do what you want. I love it, and I could see them getting along very well. But other than that, I don't think there's going to be a drastic difference in guys that love Craig Berube and guys that are just like, I can't play under this guy, because he's just an open book. He's just like, here's what we need. Now go and do it. And there's no smoke and there's no mirrors. So it's going to be, when guys when a locker room gets divided, and I've been on those teams where half the team can't stand this guy and the other team's in love with this guy, they're often manipulating situations and throwing a little shade there and trying to, in a roundabout way, get this guy going, and maybe I'll piss this guy off and see how he responds and all that horse shit. And Craig doesn't really do that. I don't think a lot of coaches do at this level, because it doesn't work with these guys anymore. You're more than likely going to, just kind of pick a needle at some point, and some guy's just going to shut it down. That's what these younger guys kind of do. So I think Craig knows that. He's been around long enough. He's adjusted his styles, and he's at the place where it's very black and white about what the expectations are. So I think that it's not going to be a divided locker room where some guys are totally struggling under Craig Berube and other guys are flourishing. I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll see if that is the case, and if hopefully everyone can respond in the same way and step up their game and in a way that's together, and that chemistry that we always talk about.
What do you remember when you were a Maple Leaf? Like, I think it's kind of cool that you brought up, like, pulling back the curtain, if you will, how players feel about coaches, because I think it's such a good point, because like it's a big team and not every guy is going to be in love with the coach, but obviously you want to find unity in that room. But what do you remember about your time as a Leaf? You had Carlisle and Wilson, no?
Yeah, I mean, not to knock anyone, but I remember when Carlisle got hired, and there were several guys on the team that have played for him before, and they were just like running to their phone to call their agent to get him the hell out of there. Like, not a good start, right? And I just remember when, certain coaches are talking, it's almost like this, like, you better figure out what I'm talking about, or like this old, like, I already know what I'm doing, you better, like that kind of shit, rather than, hey boys, here's what we're trying to do together. It's more of this, I'm here, you're there, you better, or else you're off my radar. And it's kind of like, fuck, man, like what a way to lead. I mean, read a leadership book, go talk to CEOs of companies, go talk to successful coaches, and it's all about communication, getting people on the same page. It's not that manipulation and that bullshit, that smoke and mirrors, and let me see if like fucking talk about a way to lose a lot of guys. Like, nobody has the power to get 20 some minds, personalities to be able to pull the puppet strings on all of them, right? You got to just put yourself out there, open book. Here's what we all got to do, and we got to do it together, and we're going to do it together. That's kind of more of a position that I think Craig's going to be coming from, and I know that he's going to be coming from that position, having been coached by him. But yeah, in the past, I've been coached by guys who are just like, fuck, it's like their egos are leading the way, and their arrogance is leading the way, and it's like they don't have a worry in the world, but you do, so you better figure it out. Like, that kind of shit just doesn't jive anymore, and I'm happy that the Leafs aren't coached by a guy like that.
Looking forward to Craig Berube and what he does behind the bench here in Toronto. The Nation Gear out of office summer sale is here, Rosie, and it's only lasting 1 week. So make sure you act quickly. Order now. You get 20% off your entire order. Additionally, if you spend over $200, we'll throw in free shipping as well. Head on over to nationgear.ca and grab your favorite gear before it's gone. We got Anthony Stolarz earlier this week. We're going to play that interview in about 10 here, Rosie.
I know. That'll be good. We've been talking about it kind of this week. And yeah, I think people, if it's weird because I know him, I've played with him, and I kind of knew what to expect. But if people don't know him and he's just a number and a name on the back of a jersey, and you know a little bit about him, it'll be nice to hear him talk, listen to how he works, and I like the way he talks about. We asked him, what are you expecting from the pressures and the outside, drama and the media? And he's just like, yeah, like I know that it's there, but it's just he's got it pretty simplified in his mind. And yeah, that can change and curveballs get thrown. He might have to adapt and readjust. But in general, the guy's got a pretty good head on his shoulders. He knows what to do, knows what to expect, and he's got it simplified in his mind of my job is this, and I'm going to have good days and I'm going to have bad days, but my job's just not going to change. And I think that's a good starting point for the guy.
I liked how laid back he was too. Like reminded me very stoic, like Joseph Wall. When we spoken to Walsey a couple times on this podcast, very chill, and that's the way the game comes off on the ice. And I think you have two guys like that. Like I mean, not to knock Ilya Samsonov, he had his moments in Toronto in 2 seasons, but the guy was so volatile on a daily basis. I'm like, you can't put this guy out in front of the media. Whereas like you look at Woll and Stolarz specifically, they're not going to give you anything. They're not going to say anything, but like, I mean, it's just going to be a different feel, I think, because Samsonov, you just didn't know what you were going to get media wise on a daily basis, never mind the game on the ice.
Yeah, for sure. And I could see these two guys kind of bubbling, putting a bubble around themselves and isolating themselves and just kind of being a tag team of because they do think the same way it appears. They do seem to um approach the game in the same way with the same mindset. And as a goaltender, I think that your mental state is massive. You can see guys get confidence and just be unstoppable, and you can see guys lose confidence. And I mean, these dribblers can get by them, and it's crazy. You can see a goalie just yo-yo based on their mental state. And I could see these two both having the same state of mind and gelling with each other and having that camaraderie and that 1-2 punch and putting a bubble around themselves and saying, we know what to do. We think about it the same way, and they'll block out the media and stuff the same way. Not to a point where it's like us against the media or they have an animosity or anything like that, but just simplify in their mind, confident, simplify it to the point of, we got to stop the puck. We're going to work on our stuff every day. We're going to show up, put in the time, put in the work, and then trust in yourself and your ability, and good things will come. And it's just as that simple as a starting point for these goaltenders. And I think that because they both seem to think the same way, they're gonna gel together pretty quickly.
At the Leafs Nation 401 here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. The opening segment is brought to you by Greta Bar YYZ. For a good time, find Greta, 590 King Street West. Weekly specials, live sports, over 60-plus arcade games. Let the games begin. Go big. Go to Greta Bar YYZ. So one of the conversations I wanted to have on the pod over the last couple weeks, we didn't get to it, unfortunately. Calle Jarnkrok, where does he fit in under Craig Berube is the question. Obviously, he was a favorite of Sheldon Keefe. I'm a big Calle Jarnkrok guy. I know he got ripped, Rosie, quite a bit in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Just sheer speculation on my part. I don't think he was anywhere close to healthy. And I think when healthy, this guy can be a big-time factor for this team.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, yet to be seen. His production last year was half of what it was the year before, albeit he didn't play as many games. At 32 years old, are you getting substantially better and better every day? Maybe, probably not. But he's one of those guys that can play in the top 6 and maybe in the bottom 6. But as I look at, the top and the bottom 6, I think, where are some holes and where could a winning team use some help? And I look at it and say, now there's a guy that could be a big factor in the bottom 6. And that doesn't mean he's not going to be a big part of the team or any of that, but in the playoffs, and that's what we're talking about essentially, right? How are they going to get over that hump that they haven't been able to get over? And I see a guy like Calle Jarnkrok being a big factor in the bottom six, in the sense that they can score the goals and take the pressure off the big boys if they're not, you can't lean on them all the time. He can get some chemistry with a guy that is in the bottom six. And I think that he needs to, maybe work on his physicality a little bit, some forechecking, adopt Craig Berube's system wholeheartedly, be a leader for the bottom six type of guys, set the tone as far as this is what this role entails, and really adopt that in, not the latter part of his career, but he's not 26, he's 32, right? So there is a difference there. And it's not to say that he can't hook up with one of the big boys and play on the second line and have tons of success. He is capable of that. But if you're leaning on him that hard to do that and putting all your eggs in that basket, I think you're going to have points in the season, and maybe the biggest part of the season, where you're going to be disappointed. So when I look at the forwards, I could see him being in the bottom six and being a factor if he so chooses to adopt that role wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I would say prototypical swing guy. And again, it's important to stress, like, Sheldon Keefe is out. He was a big fan favorite. He was a big favorite, obviously, of Sheldon Keefe, and that's why I wonder where he's going to be deployed in that lineup. To me, I think it makes the most sense to be in a third line checking role, but can he check is the big question. Not really a physical guy, but don't forget too, like, Craig Berube, if there's one thing you should know about him, he loves depth up and down his lineup. So I wouldn't discount a Calle Jarnkrok in the playoffs playing on the fourth line. Like, people would laugh right now, but I think a winning team has that type of player on the fourth line, because the one thing you want to do is stretch teams out in the playoffs. And I do think Calle Jarnkrok can bring more to the table than he did, say, in the second half of the season. I think he's like the perfect swing guy, but I'm looking for a bounce back year for him.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the story at the end of this year, if, say, the Leafs get to the Eastern Conference Finals or something, it would be like a Calle Jarnkrok on the fourth line and having that depth and churning out the lines, and having the coach on the other side just like pulling his hair out trying to match lines when they're in their barn, and not really having an answer for the depth. And that's wishful thinking, and we're crossing our fingers that that could be a thing. But when you look at it, you're going to need stuff like that. And I don't know if we're thin enough where we're going to need him elsewhere, up higher in the lineup. But again, I mean, we've talked about it before, that these forwards, when you look at it, isn't the most appealing thing in the world. We got our superstars, and they have expectations, and some of them have faced criticism, some of them maybe not as much, but it is what it is right now, and you've got your money here, and there's not enough money to go around elsewhere. So people need to step up in roles, and we'll see what transpires after training camp and the preseason, who makes the team, where they fit. Easton Cowan's playing a factor in that, and where Calle Jarnkrok fits, I'm not sure. He can play both sides of the table, but at the end of the day, I would like, if things went well on the top six, that he could fit in the bottom six and really bolster it.
Very well said. I think there's a lot of factors that you look at this Maple Leafs team could look a lot different. You mentioned some of the names that will be in the mix firmly, but yeah, depth is a big thing for both of us moving forward. It's just they don't have enough of it when it comes to forwards. I mean, outside of the big boys, who do they have? Are they going to step up? Who's going to step up? Is Matthew Knies going to take that next step in his career? A lot more question marks than years prior, I would say, up front for the Maple Leafs, whereas like they've shored up their back end a bit, maybe in the crease as well. But all in all, we're looking forward to it, folks. Only 69 days away from the season opener in Montreal. Without further ado, Rosie, let's turn things over to the interview we did earlier this week. Your former teammate, new Leafs netminder, Anthony Stolarz. Enjoy.
And a big welcome to Leafs Morning Take. Stoli, the goalie, Anthony Stolarz. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well. Appreciate you guys for having me.
Hey, thanks for taking the time, man. I know you're having a big summer here. You just won the Stanley Cup, and you just finished your day with the Cup. How was that for you?
It was a lot of fun. Just had a lot of friends and family come in. Everyone who's been part of the journey throughout the course of my career. We went golfing in the morning. Came back to my house and took some photos with it. Kind of had some alone time, and went to a restaurant at night. Kind of get all my old coaches, old teammates, everyone who's played a huge role in my career. And then to top it all off, we went out to a bar on the Jersey Shore. So that was a lot of fun.
Stoli, first and foremost, congratulations. I'm sure the last month, man, it's just been an absolute whirlwind. Do you wake up some days and you're like, holy crap, what's happened in the last month alone? It's wild.
Yeah, it's kind of flown by. I can't believe we're getting into August here. I mean, I got back, I think, July 3rd, so right before 4th of July, and you come back home and, 4th of July festivities and everything. So then I get my day with the Cup. So it's kind of, flown by, but I'm looking forward to the next month, kind of taking it easy and slowing down a little bit and just kind of relaxing and taking in summer. But at the same time, getting back to work, training, and getting on the ice.
So obviously, a grind of a playoff run. I don't think you've been on one that far. What did you learn from all those rounds, all those games, playing that deep, watching the vets, watching what it takes to win that trophy? What did you learn from that whole experience?
I think the biggest thing is for me, this was really my first time in the playoffs. The only other time that I was ever in playoffs, I was a black ace with the Flyers. But I guess just how different the games are, from game one to game two, game three to game four. It's they're almost each individual game is like its own series. You could lose 6-1. I think we lost 6-1 to Boston game one. And you're kind of down a little bit, but you have to just kind of park in the rearview mirror and get ready for game two and go out there. And it's just all about momentum and the swings of a series.
For you specifically, you had your best statistical season as an NHLer. What do you attribute that to? Like, what clicked? What led to that sort of turnaround in your career where you had a monster season, parlayed that into a contract here with the Maple Leafs?
I think obviously you look at our team and the system that we play in Florida definitely helps. But in the past few years, I've been gaining a lot of confidence. In Anaheim and just kind of proving that I am an NHL player, and I kind of just took that in and continued to do the same things that I did there and here with Florida, and the numbers were great, and the team had a lot of success.
Stoli, going into that free agency, obviously a whirlwind. You're winning the cup, lots of stuff going on, like you said. But take us through the process of being a free agent and how the Maple Leafs came into play and how you ended up signing with them. Was it a pretty smooth process, or was there lots going on? And what ultimately settled you on the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a quick turnaround. We had the parade on, I think it was June 30th, and then the next day you're kind of, signing on July 1st. So, I know there was some dialogue back and forth, and once the season was officially over, and I was kind of able to, speak to my agent about things and kind of just see what he thought, and he kind of presented me all the options, and I just thought that Toronto was the best fit, just in terms of an opportunity. A team that is a very strong contender, and obviously going to a city like Toronto, it's something I'm looking forward to, and I'm really excited for it.
There's a unique wrinkle here as well. Your relationship, or lack thereof, maybe, I don't even know, with Craig Berube. I believe the second year you were with the Flyers organization, he was the coach in Philadelphia. What's the relationship like? Was there any interaction? Is there something that you just really didn't know him because he was obviously in the NHL and you were the AHL at the time?
Yeah, I think just kind of my first training camp. He was the head coach, and so you kind of go through that. And I think maybe I was called up for a game here, a game there, just when someone would get hurt. So I had minimal interaction with him then, but he's reached out a few times this summer, and we've just been able to chat. And I'm looking forward to getting to camp and working for him.
So Stoli, obviously playing in some of the markets you've played in, they're a little bit different than Toronto. Big media spotlight, big hub of hockey, obviously exciting. But what have you done mentally to kind of prepare yourself for that type of atmosphere?
I mean, at the end of the day, I know I just have to go out there and do my job. You're gonna have good nights, you're gonna have off nights, and you just have to look down at the other end of the ice and just try to give up less goals than the other goalie. I've been in games where you win 1-0 and you have 40 saves, and other games where you win 6-5 and you have maybe 26, 27 saves, and at the end of the day, you kind of just have to forget about any goals you give up and just focus on the next shot, because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the 2 points. It doesn't matter if you won 1-0, 6-5, whatever it may be, as long as you get those 2 points is the most important thing.
Have you spoken to any current or former Maple Leafs goaltenders on how it's like to play in this market? I mean, with the due respect to like Anaheim and Florida, it's a different animal. You played in Philly, so you know a bit about it as well. But have you spoken to anybody directly about what it could be like to play in this market?
No, not really. I'm just gonna kind of I guess, wing it and just go into it. But, I did play for London, and obviously,
Yeah.
that is a little different. But, as an 18-year-old, you kind of get a little taste of it, that big market. So, it's something that, I'm actually looking forward to. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for me. And, I'm a pretty laid back, easygoing guy. So I'm looking forward to it all.
Yeah, I think you got the mind to handle that market, Stoley. You mentioned London. You've played with Mitch Marner and Max Domi, I believe, in London. Have you been in touch with them at all and excited to be reunited with those two?
Yeah, a couple guys once I signed, reached out. You get added to the team group chat, so you get to meet some guys there real quick. Just get some phone numbers, and if you have any questions, they said just reach out. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting to camp and kind of reconnecting with those guys. I know Simone Benoit, Yanni Hakanpää, we all is coming with me from Florida, so I kind of know a little bit of the core here. So it'll be exciting to get to town, meet some new guys, get things rolling here.
Yeah, I think Dakota Mermis signed as well. I think
Yeah,
you
him
played
as
with
well.
him with London, man. It's
Yeah, he was
funny.
my roommate.
I went. Pardon me.
He was my roommate when I was with the London Knights as well.
Man, it's full circle because I went to Fanshawe, so I actually cover the Knights. I know everything about Richmond Row, but just playing in that market, even I don't know if you remember a name, Trevor Can. One of my buddies was attendee on London when I was there in school as well. I played for Peterborough before that, but was traded the John Tavares year where they were stacked. But just that experience in general, I'm fascinated with because you're so right. Like it's the biggest market in junior hockey every night, like 10,000 filling that building. And how much do you think that's helped you throughout your career? Knowing that you started at such a young age playing in that type of environment?
Yeah, I think it was huge for me in my development. I mean, from a small town in New Jersey, playing junior B basically in front of my friends and family, 40, 50 people in the stands. And I played a year in the North American League, and we get maybe 2,000 fans in, a 10,000 seat capacity arena. So you don't really have that same feel. And then I remember my first game in London, I think we were actually up like 5-1 after the first period. So kind of eased the nerves a little bit. But just to be able to go through that, especially at a young age, and you're able to kind of deal with some things that maybe you normally wouldn't have until you get to the NHL. Because if you play for a small junior team and then go to the American League, and some of those cities are a little small market as well, it's kind of grooms you a little bit to learn how to handle certain situations.
For sure, Stoley, you and Joseph Woll are going to be kind of the 1-2 punch in the crease in Toronto this year. Do you know him? Have you talked to him, reached out to him, or do you know anything about him?
I've heard nothing but great things. He reached out when I first signed, and we just kind of shot a little text over. I know we had the same agent, and my agent had nothing but great things to say about him. I think Dakota Mermis, his dad, coached him in St. Louis, I think, when we were together. So I kind of knew a little bit about him even before he was drafted and whatnot. So it's an exciting opportunity, and I'm looking forward to working with him.
We had Woolsey actually on this podcast a couple times last year. Salt of the earth beauty. I think you're going to love him, obviously. But I wanted to ask about Florida and Sergei Bobrovsky. What was that experience like playing with goalie Bob? Because obviously up and down career, the last 5 to 7 years, he's been an absolute stud. But what was that experience like working with Sergei Bobrovsky?
Oh, it was great. I mean, from day one in camp, he was, super inviting and super welcoming. And yeah, I think it was the second or third day of training camp. I make a big save, and I just hear, a big stick bang, and I look down, and Bobby's just smashing his stick on the ice, and I kind of just set the tempo for our relationship the rest of the year. And he was super supportive, and I was able to pick up a lot of things, from him, just talking to him about hockey. He loves the game. He's so intelligent, and just the things that he would do off the ice, his work ethic. You can see why he's so successful, and why he's maintained such a long career. The way he takes care of his body in the gym, the meal room, everything. He's a class act, and I owe him a lot of give him a lot of credit for helping me be the goalie I was last year.
Love his passion as well. And you mentioned Oliver Ekman-Larsson comes with you. How much do you think that'll help with the transition, knowing that you have somebody who you played with last year, you won a cup with, quite frankly?
Yeah, no, it's huge having somebody kind of go through the same thing as you. And Lars and I got along really well, sat across from each other at the card table. So hopefully we get to revisit those battles the entire year. But no, it's nice to have someone to share that experience with, somebody to be able to go in there, a new room, and just kind of go through the same things you are.
Hey, Stoli, I appreciate you taking the time. Everyone in Toronto is pretty excited to get you there. I hope you're excited to come as well. And hopefully this isn't the last time on Leafs Morning Take, but we appreciate you taking the time and having everyone get to know you.
Perfect. I appreciate it, guys, and looking forward to the next time.
So handsome. Anthony Stolarz, first ever appearance on Leafs Morning Take. I love that, man. That was fun.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I hope people got to see a little bit about him and see what to expect, and maybe put a name to a face is a nice thing this time of year.
So very thankful of Anthony Stolarz for dropping by here. It's time for the last call, brought to you by Bet365. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. As we laid out earlier this week, the Olympics are underway. You've been watching quite a bit. Will you be betting on women's boxing moving forward?
I've got a lock for you. A lock. That was kind of sad. This morning I watched the highlights, and that poor girl, this person that wasn't allowed to compete in the World Championships, looks totally dominant just to look at, goes and just slugs her in the face, and she just quits and then just starts bawling like you. And I don't know, we're celebrating it. It's a lot of figuring out we need to do in this society, and hopefully we're doing it peacefully. And oh God, it's a pretty wild time to look at that stuff. But on the positive side of things, McIntosh, Summer,
yeah.
She's solid, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny that the COVID pushed the Olympics back one year, and then you're seeing all these people, like herself, I believe, who got to sneak in where otherwise wouldn't have been able to. And for a person that dominant with a career that's going to last a little while, to sneak in an extra set of games is pretty awesome. And she's not the only one. There's lots of competitors that fall under that, line where you're 14 in 2021, but not in 2020. And it kind of helped them out sneaking extra games in, which is pretty cool. But yeah, lots of stuff to watch out there. It's kind of hard to pay attention to everything and to know when stuff's coming up. That's my one gripe is, I don't know, I'll turn it on and I got an hour and I'm going to watch some Olympics, and it's like water polo for 2 hours on every channel. I'm like, fuck, it's kind of hard. But other than that, it's a fun time of year.
I like the underdog story. I guess you can call them underdogs, although they're a world power when it comes to women's soccer. But to go 3-0, despite everything that's transpired, man, to make it on, pretty crazy.
Yeah, I know. And obviously dominant. And that kind of, I remember it was a few games ago where they got screwed by some judgment calls and they lost the goal. Devastating. Came back the next time, won it. Now the controversy of the Spygate deal. But I saw a clip from their coach who went to one of the other, brass and said, hey, we got to figure out how to watch these practices, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? And the person's like, absolutely not. So then the coach went to HR and said, hey, and there's an email that came out, and she's like, this person says we're not going to do this, but we absolutely have to do this. What do you think? Everybody does it, and it's essential to winning. And it's like, and then they get busted. It's ugly look. I hate that shit about the Olympics where, there's high-end rules and there's people trying to skirt it, obviously, with so much on the line. It's rough, but nonetheless, whatever it was, and the team is still very good and has a chance, which is pretty incredible considering that penalty they got. Everyone thought they were toast.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's the motto I like to live with in life. But yeah, it's a great story, and it's been a lot of fun just making a couple bets when it comes to the Olympics. So we're going to leave it at that, Rosie. Will be back with you, I believe, next Tuesday. And again, thanks to Anthony Stolarz for dropping by. Slowly but surely now into the month of August. Next thing you know, training camp's going to be just around the corner here.
I know. Looking forward to it. I can't believe 69 days till opening night. That's a little wild, but we'll chip away at her. There'll be stuff come across our table that we can chat about. Don't you worry.
Almost there, folks. At the Leafs Nation 401 here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Many thanks to producer Vic. And once again, to Anthony Stolarz. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk next week. Take care. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.